Okay, here we go. I even have my little presenter down here, which will probably cover up some of the things. The Price is Right. This one's a little different. And I have this little bar, which is probably blocking things. Try to get that away. Look at the item on the screen. Type the price you guess it costs in the, I have to get rid of that. Okay. Chat, Lutheran Honor System, keep track of your own points. Winner gets a deluxe Bosch stainless steel side-by-side full-size
I want one of those.
refrigerator.
Okay.
You know who you are if you have that in your house. You can get another one. Disclaimer, these prices were accurate in September 2020 from someone looking them up on the internet. Who knows if they're still that price today. All right, here we go. We'll see how we do. If this gets too long, we'll just move along.
Okay.
Category 1, technology. The Nintendo Switch. Type the price that you think this is. Again, all the disclaimers. I don't know if this is a Minnesota. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Type how much you think that is. 3, 2, 1. $2.99. Guys,
there's a lot
right?
of 299s and 300s.
Okay. All right. Keep track of your own points.
It was impressive. Yeah.
A black box. Oh, it's an iPhone. Looks like it's probably kind that I have. The latest one. You have
Do you have the latest one?
Well,
that's cool.
Is it 11? I don't know. Maybe iPhone 11?
No, I'm not an iPhone person. I'm in the Android. I'm an Androider.
All right. The answer is $9.99. I pay for it in installments.
All right. That's the 11 people are saying, Katie.
That's what I have. That's what I have.
Okay. All right.
55-inch TV, Crystal UHD, which stands for Underbelly HUD Defense Department. Oh.
No, that's wrong. That's false.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. $5.29. I didn't give you much time on that one.
Wow.
Next one. Oh, earbuds.
Oh.
The good ones.
Which company though? Which company made them?
Looks like let's go OEM, original equipment manufacturer, Apple's.
All right.
I'm not going to do it, but I have so many stories about it. Okay. 3, 2, $159. Did people get that?
Wow, you guys were close. You guys know your cost of these things. Okay.
My little consumers.
That's
good. This is a PlayStation. No, this is an Xbox. Maybe those are the same thing. A white one.
There's probably different levels, but people know what they are. It says it's a 1X. Somebody says it's a 1X.
2 seconds. $199. Are people getting that right?
They were a little bit all over the place on that one.
Oh, people.
I bet Xboxes go up and down.
Okay. Grocery store. This is my category. 1 pound of strawberries. Now they're going to be thrown off here.
Yeah, we know this. Katie and I know this.
All right, $2.99.
Oh, no, they got it. A lot of people had $2.99, $2.89, and they are $4.99 if they're organic. So it's fair to say $4.99.
That's true. 3 pounds of apples, Honey Crisp. You have 3 seconds.
I heard there's a new kind of apple, but I forget the name.
Oh yeah, I did too.
It sounds good.
Interesting name.
Yeah.
$6.99 for 3 pounds.
Wow.
All right. This is a 20-ounce package of milk chocolate M&Ms, family size. You have 3 seconds left.
You can't really tell. That's kind of big. 20 ounces is kind of big.
Big.
Oh, you guys got it. Okay. All right.
The Sour Patch. This is just a little 8-ounce package. You have 2 seconds left. 2, 1.
Peter, it's not that much.
Goldfish. This is the 6-ounce package. Goldfishies, not the rainbow goldfishies, just this one.
Just your classic.
$1.89.
Cheaper than you guys thought.
Question.
Cheaper than you thought.
Classic mix. This is a
big bag. It's got 18 small bags in it. This is
yep.
the kind you'd get at like Costco or Sam's Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
And answer is $7.99.
Okay.
Is that all?
They were pretty close. People were in the right camp. Yeah. That was impressive.
I'm so proud of all of you.
You are good consumers. Very good. We are changing our tune, though, to something much less funny than that, because tonight we're going to talk about death and dying. So a couple of years ago, when confirmation was going through some changing of the curriculum, kind of looking at things, Katie asked people as they were being confirmed, what are the lessons that we don't talk about that we should have? And she asked a bunch of confirmation students this, and they came up with topics that we all kind of looked at each other and thought, yeah, I never even thought about teaching the topic on that. And during Lent, we get to look at some of those this year. And so this will be the first one of those. But my screen is not allowing me to share. There we go. I'll go back to the beginning, slideshow from view. No, slideshow from beginning. Here we go. All right, so we're going to talk about death and dying and what happens to us when we die from a faith-based Lutheran Christian point of view. Lent, this season that we're in, usually starts with us coming together at church and receiving ashes on our head while someone says to us, remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return. It's a reminder to us, one of the most solemn reminders of the year, that we are creatures, that we are human, that we are part of the creation, and that we are not God. We are not, it doesn't say, remember you are God, and to God you shall return. It says, remember you are dust. And this body is part of the earth, and you will die. To dust you shall return. You will become part of the earth again. In some ways, that feels like really hard, kind of scary news. And in other ways, it can also feel like you're part of the earth. You are as good as any other part of the earth, valuable in the same way that we want to take care of the earth, but you're also fragile, and you will live and you will die, just like flowers and leaves grow beautifully for a season, and then they die and go back to the earth. We are also part of this creation, and we die. It's what we believe as humans, but it's also what we believe as Christians, that we are dust, and to dust we shall return. And that's really sad news for most of us. It's sad news because we love each other. We love people. And when someone we love dies, it's really hard for us. We grieve, and it's painful for us. If we didn't love, we wouldn't grieve, right? I don't know if leaves feel anything when their friend leaf falls to the ground. It doesn't look like those leaves feel that, but humans are feeling. We are sentient, we have thoughts, we have ideas and feelings, and that when someone we love dies, it is painful for us. It feels like part of us has been cut off from the others, that something has fallen away from our lives, and we grieve because God created us to love each other. When someone dies, it's painful. This is part of the Christian tradition that is sometimes dismissed by people. They say, because God loves us, everything is good. You should be happy. You should always rejoice. Don't worry about anything because God loves you. It's true that God loves us, and it's true that God's love is the most important thing. But it's not fair to say that there is no sadness or grief or pain or misery or sorrow in our lives. Our hearts break. And when our hearts break, we suffer. It's painful for us. That is part of what it means to say we are human. And the Christian faith, the Lutheran Christian faith, does not deny that. We don't ever pretend that people aren't sad or shouldn't be sad. In fact, we grieve because we do love each other. If we didn't love each other, we wouldn't grieve. But grief is the price we pay for love. And it's true. If we didn't love people, it wouldn't hurt so much, but we do love. It's also scary. When someone dies, it's scary for us. Part of that is because we, especially in our culture, don't spend time with people in all stages of life. 100 years ago, and in other parts of the world, people saw others who were born. They sometimes saw birth, and they saw death. It wasn't hidden from them. People lived and died, or were born and died in their own homes. And so everybody that lived there saw that and experienced it. In our culture, most of us don't live with our great grandparents or don't see a baby being born, and we don't see people die. In cultures where you do see that, I don't think that they don't feel sad. I think they still feel a lot of sad, but I think there's less fear about watching someone die because more people have seen it. It's not as scary. For us, it's scary, and we get a little freaked out by it because most of us haven't seen it before. So when we do see someone dying, it's really tough on us. And again, it's supposed to be sad. I'm not trying to pretend that you shouldn't be sad, but I think in some cultures, it's a little less scary than it is for us. So what happens when we die? What does it really mean from a faith-based point of view? Well, first of all, you have to think of what it means to be alive from a faith-based point of view. The Bible tells us that we are filled with God's breath. The Spirit of God makes me, the breath of the Almighty gives me life. In the Bible, in both Hebrew and Greek and Aramaic too, in the languages in which the Bible was written, the words spirit, breath, and wind are almost always the same word. So you could read this: the wind of God made me, the wind of the Almighty gives me life. God's breath, God's Spirit breathes into us, and that's what makes us alive. So when we die, our breath, God's Spirit, departs us. When their breath departs, they return to the earth. On that very day, their plans perish. In the language of the Bible, what it means to be alive is to have God's breath in us, and to die is to have God's breath taken away from us. But I think that also implies that when we die, our breath returns to God, and we're connected again into the Spirit of God. One of the ways I think about what happens when we die, where do we go, what happens to us, I think is to think of us as connected as a web of love. If you think of the love that you experienced when you were first born, the first love that came into your life, the first time your parents held you, the first time your grandparents met you, all the love that was shared with you when you were little, and all the love that you continue to receive from people and give to people. And imagine all those loving connections as being like pieces of a web that connect you to others. All the people that love me, and then all the people who love them, and then all the people who love those people, we're all connected to each other as a web. And when one of us dies, that love doesn't stop. I can think of people who have died that I still love, and in some way, I feel like they still love me too, that somehow, even when we die, the love continues. We're still connected in this web of love. Where do we go when we die? One of the confusing things in the Bible is that there are different verses that say different things about what happens when we die, the moment we die. When Jesus was on the cross, there was the other thief dying next to him, and he called out to Jesus, and Jesus said to him, "Truly, I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." Somehow, like right then, that day, when they died, they would be together in paradise. Their breath would be together. It would happen immediately right after death. But in other verses in the Bible, it makes it sound like something else is happening first. We go down to the dead, and then we will all be raised at the same time. There's verses in the Bible that make it sound that way. You remember that we've talked about the last many weeks about what's in the Bible. And one of the things I've been saying, and I bet you the other pastors have been saying too, is just that the Bible is a collection of books from many different points of view and many different times. It's written over time. In those different cultures and times that were shared, that the Bible was written, different impressions and images of what happened when people died were were known and were shared with others. It wasn't always the same. They didn't all say the exact same thing. Some said one way, some said it others. And the Bible reflects that and has different verses that say different things about what happened. You'll sometimes hear people say, when we die, we become angels, or especially you'll hear that if a baby dies or a child dies, oh, God needed another angel. There's nothing in the Bible that says that. We don't become angels when we die. I think we somehow remain ourselves. What that means, how it means that, I don't know. But again, I think it has something to do with that love that connects us to one another, even when we die. Even the people that are very familiar and have watched many people die, let's say a hospice nurse or a chaplain that works in a hospital and has seen many people die, they will almost always tell you that it's different in every case. Some people who are very agitated and have been in a lot of pain experience a release from that pain and are much more at peace at the end of their lives. That happened to my mom. My mom died almost a year and a month ago, and she was much, much more relaxed in the last few days before she died. Some will be like the bottom left picture that you see here. They'll be reaching out as if they see someone, like they see someone coming for them, or they see a vision of something, and they have a sense that they're going to something. They'll say that, I need to go there. And they'll like point like that, like they know where they're going. And of course, some are prepared to die. They kind of sense that they're dying. And then there are some people who, of course, die from an accident or something very unexpected and don't have any preparation for it. It's different in every case. So it can feel different for people who are familiar and seeing it happen. But from a faith-based point of view, we claim that we can trust that whatever happens when we die, God knows about it. It's part of God's love for us, that we are fragile and we are part of the earth, and that we live and die, and we can trust that God's got it somehow. God's with us. If you have a friend who's grieving, because someone that they've loved has died, your job is to listen and to comfort and to care for them, to be a supportive friend, to just be with them. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to convince them not to be sad. In fact, being sad is very appropriate, but you can be with them and can let them know that you're listening. And I think even during COVID, there's ways to do that by texting with them or calling them, Zooming with them, or some way of staying in touch. Let them know that their grief is okay and that you will continue to be a friend for them. Some people get the impression that if someone's sad because someone has died, we should give them a lot of space and be private. If they want space, that's great, but you don't have to be afraid to talk to them about their grief. Usually they are grieving and it's okay to talk to them about it. Whatever happens, we know that we were made through love and that we will always be loved. So I like to think of this image as what happens to us when we die, is that we are somehow reconnected to the love of God in a way that is less painful and less questioned than it is now for us, that we somehow are reunited with love. There is a theologian named Henry Nouwen who has this beautiful image of the trapeze artists. He was really enchanted with trapeze artists when he was a young man, and he got to know some of them. And he asked them, what's your secret? How do you actually do that? And the one on the left, you can imagine this one on the left, said, what I need to do is nothing. When I let go, I do nothing. What I have to do is trust that the other one, his friend over here, will catch me. All I can do is nothing and let them catch me. I have to trust the catcher. And Henry Nouwen said, that's what it is to die, is to say we do nothing. We don't have to worry about it. We don't have to do something. We don't have to picture it somehow. We trust that God's going to catch us somehow in love and reunite us with love. If God is love and love never ends, then we can trust that no matter what happens to us or what happens to those that we love, they are somehow reunited with love and connected in God's love, that web of love forever. So we're made through love and for love, and we will always be loved. You might have some questions or thoughts about that. I didn't give you very much time to think about it, but you could send a question to me or to Katie, and we would have a chance to try and get to this. Anybody have a real fast question that you want to get to?
We have our next week's coming up. We do have a week on heaven and hell, so, and afterlife. So, and then we have a week on angels, zombies, and demons. So if you have questions about angels and demons, we have a week about the devil. What do Lutherans believe about the devil? So those are some other topics coming up. We may end the week, the Lent season, before we go for the year, with a grill the pastors night, where you can send as many questions as you want to me, and then I'll play like talk show host and send the questions to the pastors. And we've done that in years past, so we'll see what we do at that final week. I know some of you will be on spring break, but